Welcome back to the vlog. Aaron is with me again, and we'd like to bring up an article that we thought was pretty interesting. An article entitled "Mental Health is Still a Don't Ask, Don't Tell Subject at Work." I touched on this briefly in my other blog, but there's more to this article than what I spoke about. Basically, it's talking about mental health in the workplace and how it's still um, a big issue. Shame and stigma prevent some 80% sufferers seeking help, according to one report.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and these are expensive problems to keep hidden. Depression alone costs the U.S. economy $210 billion a year, half
Wow.
of which is shouldered by employers in the form of missed work and lost productivity. I mean, that's a huge number.
It's staggering.
Yeah, it is. It
Right.
really is. Which, goes on like what happened to the guy who created his own business, and he's helping to establish a culture. It says that was supple enough to deal with all the employee challenges. His firm that he owns and that he started, they offer unlimited time off and the flexibility to work from home as needed.
Hmm.
So I think right there to me, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I think it goes on to say that they had an employee who had a situation develop where he was acting erratic
yeah,
and just not being himself, and they had to end up taking him to a ward.
right,
And so I guess the gist of it was that even in that environment that you just detailed, where they're really trying to make a massive effort towards creating an environment for people who may be suffering, and you haven't exactly figured it out yet.
right,
And then that's like, well, that company there is a rarity, right? It's a rarity to have that unlimited. Come on, that's an absolute outlier, big time. Even though you have companies like Lyft who are giving free mental health comprehensively to their employees, and
hmm,
Chevron doing things about forgiving people who may be using alcohol because they're like taking 28-day shifts away from their family, on some oil rig out in the ocean somewhere. So there's a progression that's being made. But then on the
right,
flip side, we have physicians, like medical physicians, who have double the suicide rate of the national average, right?
right,
And they can't come out because they're afraid what that might do to their licenses. So even
right,
though they may have something that emerges, that they had a bout of depression and they're trying to fight through it, or whatever the case may be, they're suffering in silence because of what may happen to them in a professional environment, and that's very, very unfortunate, you
yeah,
know. And I
yeah,
think there's a big part in there about I think it's the employee assistance programs, which are huge. They're emerging more and more to cover mental health. But there's a big takeaway there in that section where they're talking about basically an act where they in 2008 covered intermittent flare-ups of health conditions, which basically says we're going to cover mental health now. But that hasn't exactly translated completely into the present day work environment.
right,
So even though we've made progression as a society, we've made progression in a legislative capacity, we're not there yet to where we're not only incentivizing to maximize uh, the employee themselves, but focus on the health of each person who's a member of that company. So
right.
so much going on in this article is just staggering.
Yeah, there is. And one thing I wanted to make sure we touch on is social media. I have my thoughts about social media, and like it brings out all kinds of things from all over the world, from all different people and everything. And I think that if using properly, social media can be a great platform to spread a message. And that's kind of like what we're doing here with these blogs and everything. We're trying to help spread a message of you know um, what's the word I'm looking for, to battle the stigma of mental illness and just try to bring out some facts and figures about how it really impacts everyone around us. And I think something cool that they did is it says to get a message out through social media. Harvey, the guy who started this company that offers the unlimited time off and ability to work from home, Harvey and his team started hashtag Dear Manager campaign. So I think that's, I know personally when I start doing more vlogs and posting more things, I'm going to include the Dear Manager hashtag. Um, they're doing this because they're encouraging workers to share the guide with their human resource departments. From all the data he's seen so far, employees at companies including Goldman Sachs Groups, Deloitte, Accenture, and Verizon Wireless have downloaded it. So those are pretty big companies that have jumped on board to this campaign, which I think is excellent. Um, but there's also the um, the law side of things, which protect people with mental health issues from discrimination. And the pervasive stigma around those conditions has limited their usefulness. Every avenue that exists has its shortcomings. The U.S. Equal Opportunity Commission takes up cases on behalf of workers who feel they've been discriminated as a result of their mental health. So there's two things there. There's one thing that this company is trying to help change the workplace about how they deal with mental illness, especially with like situations where it really manifested itself with that guy you were talking about earlier that had to be taken to the psych ward while he's at work.
Yeah.
And then there's these laws in place to help people who have mental issues not be discriminated against. So I think those are two really good things that are happening, especially the social media idea or social media campaign, Dear Manager, or hashtag Dear Manager. I think that's great.
The hashtag Dear Manager, is that designed to just basically have a bridge between managers and employees about, you know, the communication process, or what exactly is that? I kind of like glossed over that.
Well, they put that it's there to encourage workers to share the guide with their human resource department. So
Ah,
it's
okay. So it's
yeah,
like an interface between employees and upper management, basically.
right,
Gotcha. Awesome.
right,
That's actually pretty good because I mean, if 80% of people, four-fifths of people who are suffering have a hard time, coming out because of concerns or fear or stigma, to have, like you said, to have that, this program in place, this not program, but the what is the word?
campaign.
This campaign. Thank you very much. This campaign in place to kind of, bring about transparency in the workplace.
Yeah.
That's an amazing start for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and think about how many people you can reach on social media through posting things, I mean, how many people a day see, a certain tweet or something on Instagram or something like that, if they include that hashtag Dear Manager with other hashtags about mental health and mental illness, it's going to bring it more to light, and it's really going to help, I think, even more, if more people start using that Dear Manager, it can be a real foothold in changing the way the workplace is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, on one hand, we don't want to try to force companies to do things or force people to do things that they don't want to do. I mean, it's America, you can do whatever you want to do. But if we
Right.
can bring about awareness and have influence and bring about, systemic change in some way that's beneficial, not only for the individual, but for the companies and the entire system at large. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about huge financial impacts on the economy as well. So not
Right.
only just the health of each individual person in the company as well. So that's a massive thing to address. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, especially when it says depression alone costs the U.S. economy $210 billion a year. That's insane.
Every time I hear it, I'm just like, wow, like, you figure even in a pure self-interested, capacity that you'd be more incentivized to
Mhm.
make some sort of systemic change if you're only worried about the bottom line, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So it's like, even if you're someone who doesn't have any compassion, like, this is a massive, loss on your business that you might want to like think about,
Right.
So
Reconsider.
yeah, so it's beneficial comprehensively to make these kinds of changes.
Right. So I think we excuse me. I think we covered quite a few talking points to this issue. This article rather. This article is very lengthy, as I've said before. Um, we could even, go back to it in future vlogs to touch more on what's inside this article. It's a great article.
What's on inside? Touch on what? Sorry, I
No,
couldn't
it's
help
cool.
myself there.
That's all
It's a
right.
very rich article for sure. Very rich article. The depth.
Yes, it is. And like in my other vlog where I talked a little bit about it before, I didn't go in too in depth to it. I kind of was going off the top of my head a little bit too, but I will put again, as with the other video, I will put the link to this article in the description so you guys can check it out. But like I said, there's a lot of talking points to this article. It's a massive article, and I think it's something that a lot of people should check out for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to leave it here for now. So I hope everyone took something away from this at the very least, especially the hashtag Dear Manager. I think I'm going to start using that, like I said, that and just, the other plethora of information that we've gathered from this article. So I hope you all enjoyed. And for Aaron and I, we're signing off now. So we'll see you in the next one.